Congressional candidate who claims she communicates with aliens and was once visited by extraterrestrials has been endorsed by the Miami Herald. Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera, running as a Republican for Congressman Eliana Ross-Letton in CNN, she claimed she boarded a spaceship occupied by aliens when she was 7 years old.
I can't believe you just read that line.
2018.
They acknowledged her comments about past issues with aliens. Okay.
She says the aliens were long, blonde-haired, and they telepathically told her to come outside. Nothing unusual here. Nothing to see.
If you want to run, please just don't say that you've been abducted by an alien.
Well, you know what? That's actually probably answering a question you're going to ask me in a moment,
okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, and we're sitting here, we're kind of laughing at it, but doing a lot of research and whatnot, I have nothing but sympathy for that lady. You know,
I do.
Yeah.
And you just don't know. You know, that was something that came out of an interview that she gave in 2009. She probably didn't think that 9 years later she's going to be running for Congress. And there's, you know, these tragic things called videotape and newsreels just, they happen to surface,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I wonder if she won that race.
She did not make it out of the primary.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, she was defeated in August, so she didn't make it to the general election.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
But basically, I spoke with Peter Robbins, who's been investigating people that have been visited, let's just say visited,
okay,
by aliens. His name is Peter Robbins, British best-selling author, okay? And he had his own experience. And this guy is extremely credible. Okay, so he published a book on it, but when he found out that one of his co-authors was misreporting things, he took one of his publications out of publication. He retracted his book.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's what kind of integrity the man has. And he's also the kind of guy that at a UFO, can we show the slide of Peter Robbins? Just, yes, that's his popular book in England, but a very nice guy, lives in New York, and he's the kind of guy that he said to me, if somebody at a UFO conference says, these aliens are here, they come from this planet, and this is what they do, he said, just smile and nod and back away and get out of there.
Really?
So, yeah, so he is a straight shooter.
Okay.
But he's been investigating this for 35 years, and he had his own experience. He said that when he was 28 years old, his grandmother showed him some pictures that he drew when he was a kid, and when he looked at it, bam, a full memory came back, and all of a sudden he was 14 years old, and he could see 5 flying saucers flying over his house, and it's like the entire memory came back to him instantly. And you know, you were just talking about a memory that was repressed about a dog or whatever.
About my dog, yes.
Yeah, and we as human beings, sometimes if we can't handle something, we repress it until we have the fortitude to actually handle it. You know, and it's not just aliens, it's all kinds of crazy stuff that happens to people.
I've heard of that.
Right, we repress it until we can actually deal with it. And so that's what happened with him. He's 28 years old, he remembers something 14 years earlier, and then he calls up his sister because he remembered that she was 12 at the time. And he called her up right away, and he's told her the time frame and the place, and she said, stop. I know where you're going with this.
No.
Yes, I remember it. And then she said, they visited me multiple times. Can we show them? I just say, yeah, they visited me that's just an artistic rendering. But his sister was visited multiple times, and they took me aboard their ship. And she had the whole thing. So it's not like one person is just saying this.
But they're both kids.
Yeah.
That looks like me
Why?
without my wig on.
Really? Well, which one are you talking about?
Oh, now
there?
even better.
Yes,
yeah.
right. Okay. And so, you know,
Why do they visit kids? I mean, is it just this guy, this professor or whatever?
Well, right. The congressional candidate said that it happened to her when she was 7 years old. I don't know. Maybe it's because the kids can't defend themselves. Maybe they don't know any better. Maybe they're more compliant.
Maybe they're more open.
But you know what he said? He said that the entire time they were communicating with his sister telepathically, and they were telling her how special she was, and that they loved her, and that this won't hurt. And she said, and as they said, this won't hurt, it actually did hurt.
What did they do to her?
Wow.
Well, he didn't get into that kind of detail. And it's probably too early in the morning if I didn't have those details, right? Yeah, we just ate. Okay, so, but. You know what I asked him? I said, okay, you have 5 flying saucers flying over your neighborhood in Long Island. How could you guys been the only ones that saw it? And he said, no, there's probably a lot of people that do see these things. The problem is if you say it,
They think you're crazy.
They think you're crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, yes, and you got to be wearing a tinfoil hat, and then all of a sudden you start losing jobs, or you lose congressional elections, right?
Right.
And so you know, it does stand to reason that, you know, obviously I know it sounds crazy, all this stuff, right? But people,
Have
what?
you been visited? I'm just teasing.
I'm moving on. All right. So I'll be at the UFO conference in Eureka Springs this Saturday.
Oh.
And I'm working on something that I've been working on for 2 years, dealing with this whole thing with hypnotic regression. I'm going to get somebody on stage. It's amazing. We were there last year, and we're going to be there this year. If you're interested, it's Ozark Mountain UFO Conference. Check it out. It's really exciting. So last year, Stan Friedman, he's like, and I've done stories, and I've talked about it here on the show. He'll get up in front of all these people at a UFO conference, and he'll say, how many here have seen a UFO? Well, they're at a conference, so 90% of the hands go up. He goes, now keep your hand up if you actually reported it. Almost none of them stay
Right.
up, right?
Right.
And these are the people that really believe.
Right.
And so, I mean, yeah, there's people that see stuff, but do they really put themselves out there for scrutiny and mass humiliation, and do they really report it? So, but let's talk about Bud Hopkins. He was actually, he wrote the book Missing Time. He's the one that did a lot of these hypnotic regressions with the people that said that they had been visited. And Peter Robbins, the author that I showed you earlier, worked with him and witnessed 36 of these hypnotic regressions of people that said they were visited. Now, most of this happened in the 70s, okay? I love the way you guys are looking at me. You've never looked at me with this level of scrutiny. And I don't blame you. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. But listen, this is what he said. Are we in our home stretch here?
No,
okay, they said a lot of consistencies among these people, right? They weren't the only ones that saw it.
Right.
They were coming up with the same set of details. The storyline was very consistent from one story to the next, and this was prior to shows like The X-Files being on TV, where people could just get inspired, come up with this crazy story because they want attention. Most people don't want the attention.
No, not
they
that
just need
kind.
help.
That's right.
You know, and I mean, I bet you Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera, you know, running for the congressional seat, right? You know what that is?
What? Skeleton.
No.
Oh.
It's an implant. People, they go into the doctor, and the doctor goes, oh, how long have you had this? And they're like, I don't know anything about that. What is that? And the doctor goes, I don't know what that is either. And one lady that Peter Robbins knows had 25 of them, and they're like symmetrical in her body.
Oh,
she can even
really?
do a little show and tell, and she can put magnets on her face, and they stick because
Are
of
you
these metallic
serious?
things. And then, get a load of this. One lady had one embedded in her sinus cavity, and they said, you should really get that removed. And she goes, I don't know how it got in here. And they said, no, seriously, you should get it removed. She made an appointment to have a procedure done where they were going to surgically remove it. The morning of the procedure, she woke up, pool of blood on her pillow. She went in. They said, where is it? It's gone.
Oh. Well, saved her some money then, didn't it?
Well, they came and extracted.
I know.
Yes.
I would see what you're getting at.
What are they using these implants for?
I don't know.
Monitoring,
Yeah, to know where you're at.
tracking, maybe
I'm just curious
manipulating.
because I don't know when this whole alien thing started, because every drawing we see, the alien has big eyes and a round head, and the flying saucer, we have to have these images from somewhere.
Well,
And it's been going on forever.
Well, since the 40s, especially when we entered the atomic age, and Stanton Friedman's opinion is that when we started really blowing things up, that's when we got attention from outside of our planet. And it's like they came in and...
But that Spanish lady said they had long blonde hair. So somebody ain't telling the truth.
Yeah, well, there's some variances.
Yeah, I know
There's supposedly 5 different
Well, I've always
species.
said, I'm going to bring it back to my religious side.
Okay.
And I'm going to say this. If God is big enough to make the earth and all of us,
I like
He's
that.
big enough to make whatever planet He wants and whatever people He wants.
I think it's important to have an open mind.
Yes. It's just, you know, the universe is bigger than what my mind can even comprehend.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sean.
My pleasure.
Very intriguing.
Mind blown.
We'll be
Once
back
again.
to wrap things up right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's a lot.
So
to take
chilling,
in.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
This is our 20